Hello, book friends, and welcome back to the Sort of Truth podcast, the alcohol-fueled, chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sort of Truth series with a teacup of craft brew on the side. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jade, and on today's episode, we are riding into chapter 69, which seems appropriate.
Yeah. Well, we're only riding for a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Before we get started, we have just a few things to touch on. Again, we want to remind you guys that the Children of Dahara novel is being released February 4. I think we're going to have one more episode before that day, so we'll probably tell you one more time. But on top of that, during the next episode, we will be announcing the winner to our Children of Dahara novel giveaway. So in case you wanted to hold off on buying it and you wanted to try and win it, well, we have the perfect opportunity for you.
Exactly, and I know a lot of people who have pre-ordered it have already gotten it in the mail.
Yeah, it's coming early in a lot of cases.
So that's really cool to see all the people who are really excited to get it and hold it in their hands for the first time. So that could be you.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've already talked about why we understand they're excited. It's a pretty badass book, and, like, it's the final chapter in the Sort of Truth series.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a really big deal. I am super glad that we already have it, because it's just, like, it's important. It's important. Let me put it that way.
And we're going to be getting another copy, so don't worry about it.
That's right. Okay, so one final thing before we get into the episode. A lot of you have noticed this week that we posted the episodes, well, this one's releasing on Thursday, but Tuesday and Thursday instead of Monday and Wednesday. So the deal is that Jade has a day off on Monday, which allows her to get some things done during the week. And so we've decided it would be, honestly, for our best benefit, if we could release these episodes on Tuesday and Thursday. That way we wouldn't be right up against the wall all the time. We would have an extra day in there to be able to get things done and make sure that everything releases when it's supposed to.
Make sure I'm not getting up at 5 before going to work and editing a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did make it especially hard this week because normally I listen to the podcast while I'm at work just to, like, double check, make sure everything went up okay. And I didn't have earbuds and it was a day late. And I was just like, this is just the worst week in podcasting ever.
Worst week in podcast history. You heard it here.
But not surprisingly, a lot of you guys were cool with it. You're like, hey, it's all right. Take the time you need. Put it up whenever. Jade and I appreciate the fuck out of that. We really, really do.
Yeah.
And so that's why we decided it'd be best to just come out and say, like, this is what our plans are. This is why, what's going on, to keep you all up to date. A few people were like, is everything okay? I love that. Like, yeah, we're fine. We're slow.
Sometimes the weekends get away from you. Sorry.
Yeah. I thought there was supposed to be a second Saturday this week, and that just didn't happen.
There should be.
Well, I think that gets everything else out of the way. It's time to get into this chapter.
Yeah, because once we're done with this one, then there's another one, and then there's a last one.
The way you said that threw me off. I was like, wait, so two more?
Yeah.
2 more after this one.
Yeah.
So just 3 away from the end.
Yeah, I listened to this one and took the notes, and then I went, well, I gotta keep listening and finish the book.
You binged it.
Yeah. And cried, and I was at work, and it was rough, guys.
Well, we were going to do our best to get through it. Got your beer?
Yeah.
Check. Cheers. And roll. That was glass on tin. It didn't work.
Yeah, no.
Anyways, so we join Richard as his horse dies underneath him, and he rolls off onto the ground. He's lost count of how many horses died from exhaustion, not to mention those that just refuse to keep going. In other words, like, the smart ones.
Yeah, like, you should have just been like, no, I'm gonna die, so I'm done.
I'm not doing that. Come over here so I can stab you. Like, no, I'm not walking over there.
No, we could outrun you. So it takes between 24 to 72 hours straight of hard riding to put a horse down. So he wasn't fucking around here. Like, I looked this up. It's not just, like, 6 hours. Well, I think we knew that. Like, you have to really lather a horse up to get it down.
That could mean so many things.
No, like they get all, like, it happens in Lord of the Rings. All the horses get real, like, drooly and
sweaty, that's what you meant
know?
By lathered.
Yes.
I've never heard that term used in another, like, especially anything to do with a horse. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew he wasn't going easy on the horse. I don't know what never mind. Anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he had to really mean it. I remember that it said he was trying to pace the horse, but he just couldn't bring himself to go slow enough. AKA, he wasn't pacing the horse.
I'm guessing that the horses were probably trying to pace you and telling you, like, I'm slow, or I want to slow down, I'm fucking tired, and you just ignored it.
I literally can't run any faster because I'm about to die.
Yeah.
And then it died.
Yeah.
14 times? We figured if the lowest amount of time it could take to potentially kill a horse, wow, we're starting off strong in this episode. And he was out there for 2 weeks, then, in theory, Richard could have killed up to 14 horses.
And he lost count. So he's giving us no indication. Like, he didn't walk at all, actually. He ran. If he couldn't get a horse right away, he would run to the next place to get a horse, and he would just chuck money at people. And it did say he was sleeping, but not very much. So he wasn't taking advantage of, like, resting to rest the horses, or taking 2 of them at a time so they could rest. I don't know. It was just very sad, and for why? Like, I understand his desperation, but getting there sooner isn't gonna say... I know he's, like, holding out hope in his heart that he can save her, but he's fucking late, guys. Like, fucking late. And killing all these horses is not gonna make him any less late.
Yeah, we know it's been, like, 2 weeks since the winter solstice, which was the day Kaylin was supposed to die. And, like, just his stubbornness and, like, no, I want her to not be dead, so I'm trying to get there. So he's telling himself, he's making himself believe that she's still alive, so he has something to fight for.
And murdering horses because of it.
Well, yeah. And doing a whole lot of bad things on the way. But it's just, yeah, he wants it so badly, which we know, Wizard's first rule, he wants it to be true, so he's choosing to believe it.
Yeah, he can't let himself believe it's too late, especially because he's so close. He knows that he's, like, right outside of Aydindril at this point. And I think a lot of people, sometimes in life, hold out hope for that magical solution at, midnight, when at the very last second, something's going to swoop in and save you. You know, you're going to have a rich uncle who's going to be able to pay for that really expensive shit that you need. And... the odds are stacked, and a lot of times it doesn't fucking happen, but you still, like, you hold out until the very last minute, and I think that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like, it's very unlikely, but...
That reminds me, I should play a lottery ticket tomorrow. So, Richard comes over the rise, and he sees Aydindril and the Wizard's Keep. As he makes his way into the town, he conceals the sword underneath the Mriswith cape, because definitely keeping that thing with me. So people won't stare at him. Like, obviously, he's big and weaponed, and he's a dangerous-looking guy, so he's not trying to give anybody a reason to slow him down or stop him.
Now, he still has, like, an extra cape or 2 in his backpack, right? Like, he should at this point, because we know he took at least 1 extra.
Yeah, he's got at least 2.
Because I would take, like, 4.
Yeah, well, yeah, a couple for your buddies. Why not?
But as he enters the town, he sees a hawker on the corner selling something that, like, wakes him up from his daze, because he's kind of just walking into the town. He's not really paying a lot of attention until he sees locks of the last Mother Confessor's hair hanging from this, like, stick that this dude has.
Yeah, they're hawker sticks. When we went to Jamaica, the guys who would push their little boats out onto the water had probably not exactly like this, but something of the sort where they could hang different things on them, but, like, mainly t-shirts.
Yeah.
They'd have a cool design or whatever, and so they could hold it up. Necklaces, a lot of jewelry, but they could hold it up and you could see it because they're not allowed to come any closer to the beach.
Yeah.
And they needed to be able to show you what they had from a little ways away, and I mean, it worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy has Kaylin's hair. And Richard, he obviously goes to the guy because he's not going to let something like this just pass him by. He accosts the man, asking him just where in the fuck he got this. And the guy's like, hey, I bought it from the council after they chopped it off from her head. That's not what I thought the guy was saying at first. He was like, no, I got it from Kaylin's head after they cut her hair. I thought he was at first saying, well, yeah, they cut her head off per the vision.
Yeah, no, this was...
so then here's the hair from the severed head.
Yeah.
And Richard would have lost his shit.
No, this is the original haircut that she got from Byron.
The reason she has short hair now.
Yes.
So Richard is like, fuck that. He takes the hair, stuffs it in his shirt. Weird move, but I suppose he doesn't have much time to waste anyways.
It's his hair.
And the guy thinks Richard's stealing it, which...
I mean, he is.
He is, right? Thank you. He calls him a thief, and he's like, hey, thief, come help me. And instead of guards or police or anything like that, it's just like a big mob of people that surround Richard. He pulls his sword out, threatens everybody, and they, essentially let him go.
You're like, okay, I don't really want to die for this dude's hair, so...
He really wants that hair. You know what? Let him have it. That's fine.
I think if he would have stuck around, somebody probably would have alerted somebody, if there is anybody to alert at this point, and be like, hey, but he, takes off to the Confessor's Palace right away.
Really, though, that guy could just, cut his own hair and be like, ooh, Confessor hair.
Yeah.
Unless you're Richard, and no, because we already know people don't really look at Kaylin's face that much, because they're all terrified of her.
Yeah.
So...
I think it really has to do with just the rules and regulations of that type of shit in the city. Because there could be, you're not allowed to hawk and sell random shit unless you're allowed to. This guy was given this hair, or sold this hair, by the council.
He bought it fair.
Right. And, theoretically, like you said, anybody could just I could chop my hair off and be like, this is Confessor's hair. But I don't know that Aydindril necessarily would allow that type of shit to happen, because you could have 16 guys being down there doing that, and that could cause trouble.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I just think that, with the government that they have right now,
yes,
people
also
are
true.
Probably getting away with a lot.
Also true. So the Confessor Palace looms above Richard, and he heads over there. Apparently, the smells of food lead him to the kitchen door. And I just felt like it was a little bit strange, because it seems like the Confessor Palace is a palace, right? It's a large building. And I feel like most large buildings, you can't really find the kitchen door just immediately. You're not just oh, biscuits, and wander around the fucking palace to the back of it to find the kitchen door. It just seemed weird.
It was like a cartoon.
Yeah.
She put the pie on the window, and then the little scent cloud drifted out to Richard, and he was like, shit, is that pie? And then he followed it right to the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, we've all seen big giant houses and shit. When you walk up near a big giant ass palace sized house, you're not like, oh, kitchen, it's this way. You have to be led that way.
Yeah, if you went in the main entrance in a palace, I don't think you would find the kitchen. But if you went up a street where there's hawkers, kind of off to the side of the palace a little bit. Again, not through the main door, but through the workers area, then yeah, you'd probably find the kitchen. It's not going to be front and center. Plus the kitchens were normally, I guess you'd technically say underground in big castles and stuff, just for, because they had hot ovens.
Yeah, maybe there's a general area that, I don't know. I just felt like palaces should have lots of doors and windows and shit, and it wouldn't be this easy to just wander in the kitchen door of a fucking Confessor Palace.
He found it really quick. It was pretty convenient.
And he just walked in.
That's actually part of his magic, though. He needed to find the kitchen to find Mr. Sanderholt, and so he did.
Okay.
Ta-da!